Hello, everyone, and welcome to round number 2 of the 2024 Discraft's Cascade Challenge. We're at Shelton Springs Disc Golf Course. This is the FPO lead card. Cat Mertsch opened up the tournament with a hot 4 under. Holly Finley we saw in round 1 with a 1 under. Julie Moens out of Canada with a 1 under. And Raven Klein also a 1 under. Not also out of Canada, but not too far from there. She's out of Minnesota. Excited to give you guys the action. We're going to have all 18 holes just like we did in round number 1. Mostly playing from the white tees. And there's a few that get switched up throughout the round, but exact same layout as yesterday's round. Hole 1 is 270 feet. And you're throwing it pretty much straight ahead and just hoping for the finish at the end of the flight. And maybe, as you can tell already, much windier than round number 1. In fact, blustery, I think, is the official term. Colder and windier as Finley stays right in the middle, but comes up short. My first time seeing Julie Moens. Unfortunately, meeting the tree as well. Julie comes out of British Columbia. And you may have seen her, of course, she's been on a number of tournaments, but you may have seen her, I'm thinking back to a few years ago, she was runner-up to Allie Smith in the AM Worlds back in 2021. And I've seen her cash and play in a couple of other Disc Golf Pro Tour events. I got to admit, a lot of my knowledge doesn't follow into all of the Canadian disc golf scene, but hopefully we'll get that to change. Raven opts to pitch up, and then we see Finley doing the same, not wanting any part of it. Julie gives it a bid. And finally getting the birdie look here for Mertsch. Hopefully shaking off any jitters or nerves or frustrations after that first tree available hit. Julie will walk away with the bogey. Raven in for the par. Mertsch will put in for the par. I don't know how much you love the stats, but I'll give you a few from time to time as we head over to hole 2, 285 feet. Just got to make it out of the initial gap. You're going to probably have a wind blowing from right to left. Fully exposed here on the green, though. Just barely inside the circle. Not quite as close, but still very manageable for Finley. Hole 2 coming in as the 5th easiest hole on the course and still averaging over par. I think we saw 2 holes average under par in round 1. Spoiler alert, today just one hole will be under par, and it's the next one, hole number 3. As the average of our 27-woman field. And what a recovery shot here for Klein. Just a little standstill action right next to the basket. That should be a tap-in par.
It was not meant to go in. That was just meant to be beside.
Explaining her strategy there. Oh, and Finley with a really good bid from Circle 2. Not a really good bid. So a pair of pars for Mertsch to get things started here. Mertsch looking for the title defense, winning this in 2023. They move to the easiest hole on the course, the only one to play under par today. Par 5, hole number 3, 660 feet. Almost exactly 200 meters. You have some hazard on the short left side. You want to call it OB. If anyone finds it, they'll get an OB graphic from me. But it is played as a hazard, which means if you land in there, you throw it from that spot with a penalty stroke. Off to the right side, that's regular OB. And they're playing from the red tee you see here, as opposed to the white tees that are on most holes that you'll watch them tee from. Finley in the middle as well. Really, just don't do anything stupid. Find the OB or the hazard, but also take yourself way out of position by being too far left or right. So it looks like 4 pretty successful shots. Doesn't appear I have to tell you what the wind is doing here. It is offline, way off to the left. And I said it yesterday. The left side, although, of course, you see that there's some woods and scattered trees and whatnot, but it's not overly punishing. Certainly gives you some opportunities to scramble out. You might need a forehand or have to get somewhat creative, but overall, not too punishing. You see the red pole that was there a moment ago. That's just 100 feet from the pin. And here in frame, you see the white pole. That's 200 feet from the pin. And the blue pole is 300 feet. I love that touch when you're out here playing a course, especially when you're looking at par 4s, par 5s. Just a real easy indicator of roughly how far away, or not roughly, how far you are from the pin. Hopefully you can do some of the math and figure it out from there. I think that helps speed things up. We see so many more people using rangefinders like Bushnell's, which I think are great overall tools to have, but I hate watching anyone use them and have it then lead to them exceeding their 30 seconds on their throwing. Solid bounce back. Maybe settling in a little bit here for Julie. Comes into the tournament with an 893 rating. Birdie for Raven. Raven, a 935 rated competitor. Finley, I believe, is the second highest rated at 948 in the entire field. And Mertsch in for birdie. And she enters the tournament out in front of everyone else ratings-wise at 962. We head to 4, 295 feet. Well, you just right down this tunnel, which can be said all so often out here on this course. Gotta put a little lean into it.
That's a late kick, though. That was good.
Trying to fight back, but doesn't quite get there. Finley on the dance floor. She'll have a look for birdie. Favorable kick. Sometimes you just don't have much to work with. And I got to say, it's always great to just take what's given. And sometimes you try and force something. Next thing you know, it leads to a silly mistake. Oh, and Finley, top chain. Came in just a bit high. Looking back, I see Julie's first Open tournament was in 2021. She'll pick up a 4 on the 4th. Klein is in for the par, as we see from Mertsch, and Finley should do the same. So Julie giving up one to the rest of her fellow lead card competitors. We head to the 5th at 535. Initial tight tunnel shot here. Trying to find the ideal landing zone that will give you a look to possibly throw your second shot to the pin. Gotta say thanks again to the 2 camera guys out there doing some work here, getting both FPO and MPO action every single day. I didn't get to work the camera because those guys were doing that. I was able to edit together everything for you. But big thanks to Elijah along with Justin. Both of their YouTube channels are in the description below. Justin also went out there and worked to get our drone previews, which was not easy with as sunny as it was out on Thursday. Going from very bright and sunny to very dark. As that veers off to the left side, the double kick.
Oh, okay. That was beautiful. Thanks.
The I think says it all. Finley gets it on edge, but doesn't quite get down the fairway. So more scrambling to do. Klein has a gap. And you can see why the rest of the card liked the shot here by Julie, setting herself up pretty much in an ideal landing zone, just trying to punch it all the way through. Little roll back or check up off the board, so to speak.
Fuck you, Kim.
Not sure if that was just nose up or just overall not the angle she wanted, but comes up short. Still a long look for birdie. Meanwhile, Finley trying to manufacture a par somehow. She's going to need a long one from somewhere in circle 2 for that. We saw that she's been very aggressive. The putter, no shortage of power so far. Similar distance here for Klein as to what we just saw from Mertsch, and neither of them able to take advantage. So Finley outstretched to the left, back edge of circle 2, on line but just a little low. Julie trying to get the lone birdie, and she cashes it in. Solid work. We just saw her give up 1 to the rest of the card, and it looks like it's going to be the reverse of that here on 5. She fights back to even par for the round. Five playing as the 3rd most difficult hole on the course today. Easy to rack up big numbers out here. However, Corey Gerberdolan and Deanne Carey, the only other 2 to find birdies out here. So congrats to Corey and Deanne, along with Julie. Sorry, Corey, I should have probably practiced that name before I randomly busted it out here. Nice work on the birdie. That's what counts. As we head to the 6th, just about 100 meters. Again, some more tunnels to work with. And so many beautiful greens found out here at the Shelton Springs course. Red, white, and blue tee pads on every hole out on the course. And then 1 basket position.
Didn't miss anything.
So certainly plenty of different skill levels can be challenged out here. Never a shortage on variety. Can mix it up any given day you want to come out and play. And what a kick that we're seeing as that carries forward for Mertsch. She'll have a long look from circle 2. Klein just inside the whisker. You find those orangish red whiskers, I think those are orange, at what we call circle 1. If you're new here, circle 1 is basically a 10-meter circle around the basket. 32 feet and 8 inches, or 32 and 8/10 inches, something like that. 8/10. What am I talking about? Otherwise known as 10 meters. You can't fall forward when you're inside of that 10-meter circle. And then our circle 2 is everything from that 10-meter distinction all the way back to 20 meters. Yeah, maybe I'm not crazy. 10 meters is 32.8084 feet. Just short of power from inside the circle. Little roller coaster here for Julie. She'll go back to 1 over on the round, which brings her to even as an overall score. Sunshine isn't the problem out here. It's more so the constant wind along with some chilly air. Big thanks to our friends over at Zing Minis. I'm all stocked up on flapjack minis, and I'm going to have even more of them. And if you're lucky enough to be a winner here when I randomly select a username and reach out to you, you're probably getting a flapjack mini along with whatever else I'm sending, whether that's a shirt or a disc or something else. I've sent out plenty of jerky throughout the years as well. So like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, but then also make sure you put something down in the comment section. As Cat is off on the left side here on the 7th.
Okay.
We often see significant skips coming in from that right side that then get anywhere near the pin and then take a really hard skip off to the left. So I can really appreciate Holly maybe almost overcompensating, playing it out to the right, trying to get this push, just like we saw actually right there. And that's going to carry all the way to the out of bounds. So it's a matter of the wind plus the ground being a little bit harder there. And it just feels like it just shoots right off into the OB, and that's what you saw. You saw Julie's shot there out of bounds by less than a meter. Count it. The jumper. Raven from circle 2. She's going to get under par for the round. Julie has a chance to save the par. Cat trying to maneuver that one in as well. Little meat left on the bone, but not a problem for Finley. 7 playing as the 4th easiest hole on the course. 2 birdies in the entire field, and you just saw one of them. Raven Klein picked up the birdie, as did Deanne Carey. I believe Deanne is either on second or maybe even third card. And it looks like she's off to a great start at this point, 7 holes in. We head to the 8th. What feels like a relatively scoreable hole, 555 feet. You're out in the open for the first 300 and some feet. And then it's just a matter of navigating past a few of the guardian trees here at the end. Wind is up another notch or two as we're here on the 8th. Finley pushes right side. Certainly all about the positioning here. That could be trouble pulled off to the right side as well.
Give me a path over there.
As she says, there's going to be a path, but more work than you're hoping for if you would have lined up in the center in the first place, and Finley doesn't fight all the way through. There's just a level of frustration when dealing with such a significant wind where you feel like almost no matter how you release it, it's not going to do what you want it to. Growl out of Cat. She really was in the ideal position. That's pretty much where you would drop your mini if you had a chance. And this is way off on the right side, and we'll see what Julie has left to fight through. Finley's third. She'll have an open putt. That'll be to save the par. And Klein also will have a look to save par. Julie throwing her third. All right, let's hear some chain. Much better. So Finley will claw into a par on the 8th. Holly, the only one to find the sweet spot. No. Julie from short range. I was thinking this one was going to be scoreable, and it was, well, that didn't really come true. Certainly not for the lead card, but only 2 birdies on the day come in on hole number 8. Deanne Carey again, and Jennifer Rice. We head to the 9th. Once we complete this, it'll be officially the halfway point of the tournament. 27 out of the 54 holes, 290 feet on the 9th. A little downed tree there that's just short of the green, kind of preventing some of the potential skips that could come in and then just slide to the pin. You got to get over it. Holly hit off of it yesterday. Today she gets over the top and just outside of bullseye. We saw her hit the end of the log yesterday, and it rolled to 35 feet. Raven dialed in. Oh, basket hunting.
Wanted this one all week.
You got to want it, Raven. Certainly a birdie look. Not sure that was the intended route for Cat. And that's going to be punishing off to this left side. Julie also with the alternative route, but it fights through. Guessing that'll be obstructed. Was that finish? Somebody let me know in the comments if that was maybe just a phrase from Arkansas, or was that something international? Oh, and Raven comes up short. This does play as the second easiest hole out here. Averaged 0.07 above par, so 3.07 on the day. When it was all said and done, there were 5 birdies, and you just saw 20% of them. Holly, the birdie on the card out of 5 competitors. That got it. And with that, we're at the halfway point of the tournament. Cat Mertsch sitting as a total at 3 under. Keeping an eye still on Deanne Carey. I know I keep mentioning her as one of the few people that's birdieing. Doing more so than the rest of the field through the front 9 as we head to the 10th at 505 feet. Play somewhat like a horseshoe. Got to get out into the open and then continue to have it bend up and to the right. And even just judging by the microphone, even after turning down some of the gain here, relatively protected, a little bit quieter here on the tee, and then the disc gets out there into the open and just so much louder and not protected by a few of those trees as that's out of bounds for Julie. Conservative but effective. Cat sitting at 1 over through the front 9. Just to put this in perspective, as we're watching the approach, that looks like birdie range. At this point, through the front 9, Deanne Carey is 7 under, which absolutely dwarfs any other potential score out there by any other competitor through that front 9. I think the next best score on the front 9 is right around even or 1 over. And that's by anyone else in the entire field. Well, Deanne Carey's gone 7 for 9 on the front. Nice and close for Finley as Raven's still trying to fight through. Count it. Back to even par for the day. Mertsch picks up the birdie on 10. And there were only 4 birdies on hole number 10. Finley's par scoops in and out. Julie just not there with the putting stroke as we watch Klein put in for the par. That's going to be a brutal triple bogey. And Finley will tap in, pick up a single bogey of her own. $11,285 feet. Definitely one of the most memorable holes on the course. It is an island green. You must land on the island. If you don't, you go to the drop zone. Regardless of which section of the island you may have missed it from, whether it's the right, left, deep, doesn't matter, or short. All OB shots go to the drop zone. And that's exactly where Cat Mertsch will be heading. You can also see this is the blue tee at 285 feet. Safe and in circle 2. Finley's pulled it. Does it have enough room? No. The kick keeps her out of bounds, so she'll too go to the drop zone.
Okay. Drop zone.
Mertsch going to get aggressive enough for the par save. Gives it a bit, and you can see the look of frustration or disgust. Maybe a little bit of both. Finley not going after it. Wow, some interesting strategy here, and you see Julie pretty much just pitching up as well. Easy to be tentative knowing how close those set of pavers or bricks come into play directly behind the basket. I apologize. I don't know if Julie is sponsored by a disc manufacturer. We know Kat and Holly, both sponsored by Innova, Raven with dynamic discs. Island hole doing the work. We head to 12, a par 4. Like so many of the other par 4s out here, all the other pars. You're really just trying to look for a landing zone. And even if you hit it, you're not guaranteed anything. You're still going to have to hit another alleyway or some kind of tunnel shot. Maybe you're going to have to get creative, but keeping it clean off the tee is going to give you your best chance. And that's going to push right side. We'll see what she's left with. But there's just a lot of tunnels and little channels and alleyways to the basket. As you get out to 12 and walking through the course, I was thinking, I feel like we're on the opposite end of the entire park and where hole 1 is, and I'm not sure if it's 12 or 13, but yeah, we're essentially about as far away from the starting point as you could possibly be out here. I also heard of some possible changes and maybe even a few new holes to get developed. I don't know if those are secrets or not, and I don't know much more than that, but sounds like some things might be in the works to continue to improve on this beautiful course. Mason County Disc Golf Club, caretakers of the course. Julie with more room to work with here. Oh no. Things not going her way. Well, that could turn things around. That's a beautiful shot. As I was just looking at Julie's scorecard, we didn't see her on the coverage. During round number 1, she had 3 birdies and 2 bogeys. Hole 12 being one of those bogeys, but she ultimately had a really clean scorecard. Today, she kind of got off to a rough start to get things going, but then she sprinkled in a few birdies here and there. Holly Finley had 4 birdies and then 3 over par strokes in round 1. And there was only 2 places where Kat had a problem. She went OB on the island during round 1, and then she took a double bogey on 17. That was yesterday. Today, hole 12 isn't doing her any favors. That was for double bogey for Mertsch. So a triple is in store. And a solid putt to ultimately walk away with a bogey. Finley and Klein are going to pick up strokes on both Julie as well as significant strokes against the triple that we just saw there from our round 1 leader in Kat Mertsch. Big thanks to our friends at the Distinguished Doodle. All products made in the U.S. Check out thedistinguisheddoodle.com. Use the code the Disc Golf Guy. Looking at 35% discount. Yeah. Treat your dog right. Clean tee shot on the 13th. That's going to give Raven a look here on this 340-foot hole. Finley, a real light kick, sends her significantly off the line. And we saw this route yesterday. Julie going hyzer. And it pays off next to the pin. A perfect shot. Good looking forehand to inside the circle. We'll see if Kat can bounce back. Taking the triple on the previous hole. She's currently 4 over for the round. Raven even for today's round and doesn't get that one to go, so she'll remain even. And as we're watching Kat, who's at 4 over for today, we see the best on this card is 1 under by Raven. Deanne Carey, who shot a 2 over during round 1, at this point through 13 holes, has picked up 9 birdies and no bogeys. So Deanne Carey is currently sitting at 7 under. Meanwhile, the best on our lead card is just 1 under. So if they're watching scores, they're seeing that Deanne Carey's practically torching everyone else's paper scorecard that's out there at this point. She's just blazing past. We'll see if they can get it going. Just 5 holes left to play here in round 2.
I wasn't there after 4 shots.
You heard Julie saying she wasn't quite that far after 4 shots yesterday on this hole. So seeking a little revenge on the 14th, apparently. Good clean tee shot coming in from Raven, too. Late, but not necessarily the worst kick that we just saw for Holly. That is much worse. I'm not sure that was her intended line either, but she does make some good progress, even if it was offline. Well, Finley's got a theme here. Late kick, and then kicks her out to the right side, and overall not punishing. So likely an up and down look to try and save the par. Can Raven put herself in position for birdie? And, well, she'll need to make a putt to do so, and she's been all over the basket this round. Only 250 or so to the pin. And that'll come up short, so about 50 left for Julie. The safe par. Oh, no. Julie with a birdie luck. Cat hasn't made any friends with any trees here on the 14th, and not a good putting effort either. So things coming unraveled here late for Cat in round number 2. Saw the triple bogey back on 12. Now a double here on the 14th. We head to the 15th, just 250 feet. I'll check the stats. I've got to assume this comes in as one of the slightly easier holes, certainly one of the shortest holes. In fact, it is the shortest hole that they will play here this weekend. Third easiest hole on the course, actually ties for the second easiest at 0.07 over par. So the same as hole number 9 played. And that was 290 feet. Does Raven have the line? That's caught up on the right side. Of the lightest or slightest of slopes to worry about as we watch Cat tag another tree here on the 15th. I feel like on any wooded course like this, you could play one round, come back out the next day, not throw that much worse, but be punished 10 times more. And there's just such a premium on hitting some of these narrow gaps in fairways. Julie wants no part of an aggressive birdie bid. Finley does, though. And this is the problem when you go deep here. You have this canopy that can come into play where all of a sudden the ceiling just closes in on you. Finley does have a rocket-style putt when she needs it, though. And that one's going to sting a little. Just looking at a possible, I was going to say 3-putt. That's a 4-putt for Finley, turning the birdie look into a double bogey. So Klein will clean up for the par. She's at 1 under as a total, which means she's even for today's round. And she's gained strokes on everyone on the card and about to gain a couple more even there on Holly. Just 3 holes left to play as we head over to the 16th. 310 feet. Taking a look at 16's stats, telling us it played at 3.41 on the day. Ultimately will finish left, but got pretty good carry. The struggle continues for Mertsch. Let's see how Holly can bounce back after the double bogey on the previous hole. That 2 will straighten out and finish off to the left. Very impressive patent pending shot coming from Julie there. Easy. It's really easy when you're setting up for those patent pendings to either put too much on it when you're trying to turn it over and then you kind of spike it into the ground, or you at the last moment let up on it a little bit and you don't put enough turn on it, and the next thing you know it's stalling out on you. So to have the balance, the stance, the composure, and then you get just the right amount of wrist snap, really, really impressive to see what Julie just did there, because I feel like she had everything working for her. Can she make it pay off? Solid approach to here. There it is. Left side corner pocket. It'll work. Unfortunately for the field, though, hole 16 gave up 0 birdies on the day as Mertsch is in for the double. Now has moved to 7 over for today's round. Quite the contrast from the 4 under we saw her yesterday. And she still has hole 18 to play. 17 as well, but 18 I think of as no walk in the park or no easy one. 17, 325 feet. Playing as the 4th most difficult hole on the course. And similar to 15, you do have this right side slope. This doesn't have a canopy on the right side, but that tiny little slope can come into play here. If you're going to get nitpicky about the course, that would be one of the few things someone could say is there's just not a lot of elevation. It's almost completely flat, except for a couple of the greens that we find out here, namely on 15 and 17. I know they've elevated the pin on 18. They have an elevated pin on hole number 1 as well. But overall, a relatively flat course, which is crazy to me because being out in this area for the first time during the event, seeing all the beautiful topography and just all the undulating hills and everything else that they have in this area, interesting to find this plot so incredibly flat. Mertsch will have that left to save the par. That's it. That's all it is. Just that. And Holly has to be thinking, having somewhat of a flashback to 15 at that point of, what am I doing messing with this hillside? And back-to-back non-metal draws. Mertsch's putter lets her down. Oh, no. Again. Mertsch's title defense is going to become a lot tougher after this second round. She opened with the 4 under. That was 3 clear of everyone else in the field, including the other 3 women on this card who all shot 1 under to open the tournament. Today, through 17 holes, she is 9 over. Meanwhile, Raven Klein just trying to maintain an even par round, all while watching Deanne Carey just wrap up with her round moments ago. To see that Deanne Carey was doing work out here. So impressive. She shoots a 10 under. She shoots 2 over the first round, a 10 under the second round. She closed out on hole 18 here with a birdie to get to that 10 under. No bogeys. And a 10 under effort for Deanne Carey. For sure sitting on the lead card. And it looks like she may have even a little bit of a lead herself. Let's see who else will join her.
Sneaky.
Good clean shot. Raven has parred the last 9 in a row. She's got 2 birdies, 2 bogeys, but has now carded pars on the last 9. And we've seen her hit so much metal on the putting green. And they've all resulted in pars over the last 9 holes. Finley, over the last 8 holes, has gone 5 over. And Mertsch has it dialed in. In the last 8 holes, 7 holes, we've seen Kat Mertsch go 9 over. Pretty much the entire field has struggled on the back 9 just throughout. If you look at an average, I don't have the number in front of me, but I'm guessing the average on the back 9 has to be somewhere around 2 or 3, maybe even 4 over as an average for 26 competitors. Deanne Carey not having any of it. Went 3 under on the back 9. So if you want to talk about where so many strokes were gained. Now, clearly she had an incredible front, but also keeping it clean when everyone else was just bleeding strokes on the back today. Deanne setting herself up for Championship Sunday. Finley with her 3rd. Saucy. What's your favorite sauce? If you haven't already answered any other questions, what is your favorite sauce? We're going to go on pizza. Barbecue sauce, a spicy Italian, a mild. I need to know the pizza sauce. Raven doesn't want to mess with it. So Raven, even with the birdie look, is going to throw it right next to the brick and walk away with a par. She's going to shoot 1 under as a total. That's even for the day and remain at 1 under. So very consistent over her 2 rounds. A 1 under to open and then an even second round. Mertsch will finish with a par there. However, she shoots 9 over. Well, her good friend Deanne Carey catapults into her first place positioning with a 10 under that round. So a 19-stroke swing to go from Kat Mertsch, our leader, to Deanne Carey, our leader in round number 3 going into Championship Sunday. I almost don't even believe it. A 19-stroke swing between Mertsch and Carey. So one last time, thank you to Elijah, along with Justin. Big thanks to Jeff Corns, our tournament director, Discraft, our presenting sponsor, the Mason County Disc Golf Club. So many of you incredible Patreon supporters. Like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. And for Championship Sunday, we'll see Deanne Carey, Raven Klein, Emily Yale, and Stacy Ronsley. Championship Sunday coming up tomorrow. We'll see you there.